All right, everybody, come on in, come on in. We won't waste any of you all's time. For anybody new here, hi, I'm Maggie. You may know me from my cooking channel, Maggie the Substitute Teacher. Lucy and I have founded the Finishing School for the Modern Woman, where we teach ladies of all ages, I'll say 16 to 60 plus, about elegance, etiquette, and femininity. Now, tonight is a special stream. Usually we do a wild card Wednesday, which is Ask Us Anything, but we wanted to do something a little bit different today, so y'all don't have to wait. Men, if you are in the market for dating or marriage and you have questions that you would ask a woman that you are vetting, Lucy and I are going to attempt to answer those as a teachable moment for the ladies. Lucy, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Lucy. I have a channel that mostly taught basic to midpoint Spanish. However, this year I changed the content to be more about elegance, femininity, and anything cultural for women over 50. So, yes, and then Maggie and I have this Maggie Lou partnership and hoping that you have many questions for us tonight.
Absolutely. So we're trying something new. I'm just going to be vamping for time. So don't wait. You got an hour with us. We are on a special night tonight because one of us is traveling and it's not me. What do you have going on tonight, Lucy?
Oh my goodness. So yes, there was some drama about the travel, but everything was we figured it out. So I'm leaving on a red eye to Miami, Florida tonight to arrive into South Beach at 8:30 tomorrow. It's going to be me, my sisters and the husband, so it's going to be fun, but already the telenovela drama started tonight.
I love that. Family drama, we all have it. So while you all are putting your questions in the chat, or I will drop the link, ladies, this is your night to listen and learn. The men have the floor tonight. All are welcome here. But I want to give you all a little bit of a background as to, why we decided to do this. I mean, usually on the Ask Us Anything, it's kind of a wild card anyway. But outside of YouTube, in addition to the finishing school, I also do consults and courses. And when I talk to women who are interested in relationships, from my experience, when they have been asked very simple questions, either they haven't thought the answers through or they're kind of like a deer in the headlights. And ladies, because we want what the men have. We want their name, their ring, their provision, their protection, their covering. We need to be able to vet as well as be vetted. So, I'd love to hear from any of the men watching on Instagram, on TikTok. Y'all can put it in the chat if you want to, or you can click the link. You can be camera on or camera off. It's always your choice. So we'll see who we have watching tonight. And then, yeah, this is a hot seat. We haven't seen these questions, so Lucy and I guess we'll give a little bit of our background too. Lucy and I haven't been in the market for a long time, but we know that the modern dating world has changed, and unfortunately, a lot of times women aren't prepared for what men who are dating with intent are going to require of them. So we both have marriage experience. Decades and decades. Lucy's in a marriage. I'm in a long term after marriage. And yeah, so we want to use this as a moment to teach the ladies. We've got Lisa White in the house saying, hi, beautiful ladies. Thank you, my dear. The Condemned is here. I know you have some questions. So go ahead. Tonight is your night. We'll be back to Wildcard Wednesday next week. We've got Jurgen from across the pond. Hello, Jurgen. Tara's in the house. She says, good evening, ladies. Hello. Who do we have here? Killa says, what's up, everyone? I think I'm shadow banned Oh no, you had to search me to find the live. I'm still here, y'all. If you're new, I usually stream every day, cooking or femininity, and then Lucy and I stream a couple times a week. So yeah, no preparation. So what would you add to this, Lucy?
So usually while you're talking, I'm saying hello to folks in the chat. Tonight has been a really interesting night. So my keyboard, for whatever reason, is not responding. So I would love to say hello to every one of you in the chat. I can't type right now. So as you're coming in, hello, everyone.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I see the ladies coming in the chat. So I will start with one of the questions that prompted me to want to do this stream while you all are waiting. We always have like the first person, let's you all don't want to put your first toe in the water, and then at the end we run out of questions, but it's fine. I mean, we run out of time. Somebody that I was talking to who had been admittedly dating, let's just say boy toys or men that weren't serious, right? And over here, we promote marriage and long term. We always acknowledge there are various types of relationship. Traditional isn't for everybody. I understand that. I also understand that, unfortunately, the modern dating market is not showing the benefit of marriage to men as easily as it used to. So now everybody has to step up their game. So after however many years of dating men that weren't really serious, she finally went out on a date with an actual adult. And he started asking her some questions about how she saw herself fitting into his world. He had the type of job that he had, this was his schedule, and he was basically asking her, how would you fit into my life? And she just kind of drew a blank. And I was like, that's kind of a basic question, but not everybody knows that. So I'll say this and then I'll answer pretending as if it were me. So ladies, we've said this before. A man will create the life that he wants for himself, and he will go as far as he can with his own goals until he is ready to take on the responsibility of a wife and maybe family. And so he's going to be looking for the type of wife that can get on his program. So we need to be aware of that. Number one, we need to study either the man that we want or the caliber of men that we want to have and understand. So let's say it were me. So I would probably say, I've always seen myself as a wife and mother. It is one of my dreams in life to dedicate myself to being a support system for a man with a plan. I was raised in a traditional family, and my mom and dad have been together over 50 years now. And so I had the example, admittedly, after college, I got a little bit caught up in that modern woman thinking, but I know that you are the type of schedule that you keep has a lot of demands on you. So I would take over all of the domestic responsibilities. I love to cook, but even if I needed to get help in a certain area, I would make sure that I run a well-functioning home for you. I would make sure that I was available to pick up any pieces that you couldn't, whether it was errands or, being basically the feminine asset to your masculine brand. The skill set that I've developed in my either work experience or other experience. I'm good with people. I communicate well. I know you're more of a shy person. So I would love to be able to support in that area. Those are some of the things that I would do. I see the super chat, but Lucy, go ahead and answer how you would fit into a man that was vetting you his life.
Okay, I gotta be quite honest with you. In my previous marriage, 11 years, in my current marriage, 16 years, I don't remember either of you know, my two, you know, only men that I've really dated ever asking me that question on my first, second, third date. I do know that they were watching to make sure that I was a family person. They met my parents, they met everybody else. And from then, they decided whether I was going to be that one woman that they wanted to pursue and spend their time with and see if something developed. I can tell you that with my current husband, I know that I think he knew that I was the one on the third date, pretty much. But we never had those kinds of conversations. I do know that he spoke to my dad about his intentions and they had that conversation. I even asked him, now, what did you talk to my dad when, you decided? He will not say anything. My dad says that he knew that he was the one because of the questions and the how he was talking about me. So that's a pretty heavy question. I would say that I'm a family person. I love my family. My parents have been married for 56 years, and I plan to, they modeled what an ideal marriage is, and I plan to follow that. If I was younger, I would say probably giving my husband a child, one or two children, and then, give him a family and so forth. But I don't know how I would answer that question in the modern world now, quite honestly. That's a pretty heavy question.
You're absolutely right. And I have two takeaways from what you said, and then just another mark. I'm coming to your question. Thank you so much for the $50 super chat. So, ladies, like Lucy said, the first thing that struck me is that her first and current husband watched her before pursuing her. And we've said that so many times. And I know it's just like the men are always watching, the men are always watching, but they're not just watching to observe, they're watching to confirm. They are watching to see how consistent you are, and they're looking for something specific. And you need to know what that is. It's different. Some things are the same, but it's going to be different for different men. And yes, I think the takeaway from me, that question, a lot of times, because people, the way they date now, the way I grew up, it's like you had one steady boyfriend, you dated one person, but I understand that this culture now, it's kind of like a needle in a haystack. So, the ladies have their list of questions, but please believe the men have their questions as well. So just another mark with the $50 super chat. That is so generous of you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You all are so, so generous with us. So I'll update in a moment. He says, I will start us off. It's mad. Automatic red flag when a woman is a detriment, impairment, or hindrance to my tedious, mundane, boring routine that keeps me focused on my mental, physical, spiritual health, and my purpose. She's gone like yesterday. All right, so that was a lot, but I think it's really important, ladies, to realize men are the simple ones. Simple in a good way, simple in a consistent way, in a stable way. So if a man said to me something like, how do you handle, what would you describe as boring, a boring life for you? I would probably have to say something like, I understand, because my father, my brother, the men that I know are very predictable because you all have to work so hard outside. You almost want to kind of shut your brain off at home and in your relationship. And so I know women are naturally kind of excitable and chaotic. So what I do or what I would do in a relationship to not add stress would be to occupy myself with things that are productive, that are creative, that are helpful. But if you just want to rest, I have my little hobbies or my little things that I like to do, but always in a way that still makes you look good. But I actually have grown to love what others would consider boring. I would call it stable and almost like a security blanket and comforting. So that's what I would say. What would you say, Lucy?
Yeah, this is fascinating because again, I'm a traditional woman in a modern world. So all these modern world questions, modern dating questions are very hard for me to relate to because that never happened to me in my life. So if I was, let's say, maybe 27 years old in the modern world now, I think maybe the man would think that I'm boring because as an introvert, I'm not the club person. I don't like going to clubs. I never liked going to clubs. My sister has had to push me out, to take me somewhere, to have fun like that because I like just reading, staying at home, just finding something to do at home because again, that loud, just busybody work for me doesn't go with me. But then again, my sisters, the extroverts, right now they are having a blast, getting ready to go out and have fun. Whereas, when they call me, I said, "Yeah, I'm ready. I'm okay." She's like, "But you don't sound excited." And it's like, "Well, we're traveling." But again, it has to do the men watch. If a man wants an extrovert, you will see the extroversion right away. They're going to be talking, they're going to be doing things here and there. When you meet an introverted woman, you can tell they're the most laid out, chill. There's nothing boring to us. In fact, the most boring the life, the happiest we are in our little cocoon of our homes. So, again, it has to do with what kind of woman you are looking for as a man. And again, understand that if you're going to have an extroverted woman, you know that they're going to be going places, going in and out, here and there, moving to places. And that's where you're going to have to either figure out a way that works out for you, or if she's willing to get on your plan, she's going to have to maybe, you know, chill a little more to be able to spend more time with you.
I love that. That's so true. We talk about that in the finishing school awareness, ladies. You've got to know your natural personality. You are who you are. You need to know your little quirks, your little things that are kind of, just part of your character. And then make sure you know how that shows up in a relationship, if that's helpful or if that's hurtful. And if it's hurtful, what are you doing on your own before he has to say something about it? You got a little bit of a slick mouth. If you know that about yourself, how are you controlling that before you get in the dating relationship? Next one from Jurgen says, first of all, don't cut your hair. We are not into guys. Masculine behavior is a no-go. Okay, well, I'm clear. So let's talk about this. I know this one is a hot button item. So if a man was vetting me and said, I don't want you to cut your hair, would you ever do one of those shaved on the side hairstyles because I like your hair the way that it is? I would say that's easy. Whatever you like. I mean, for me, it's hair, it'll grow back. I want to show up as attractive to the man that, I'm going to be with. And so if there's certain styles that you like, just say the word. And if there's styles that you don't like, say that too. I think that's an easy one, so you won't have any issues out of me. What about that one, Lucy?
I like what Lisa said. Someone can be extroverted and enjoy quiet and boring too. I love that because again, I have met the extroverted women that I have met, they are always running everywhere here and there. And it's kind of, I'm glad to hear that extroverted women also enjoy that quiet and boring time. Uh, and yes, the thing about the hair, I think for me, I think there are some women that can wear short hair in a very feminine way. My mom, she's how old is she? She's 78, I think. And she wears her little all silver color hair really short. And she's worn short hair for the longest time. And my dad loves that. So again, it has to do with your preference. Of course, you're not going to want somebody that shaves their head like G.I. Jane, but somebody that has like a pixie cut or, shorter hair. Hair grows. And if my man likes long hair, you better believe that I will allow my hair to grow according to what he says. And Jurgen said something else about, what did he say?
It
And
was
don't let
masculine behavior. Yeah, I'll find it, and then we'll come to his other one.
other women explain to you what men want. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I mean, I don't know men. I know myself as a woman, and I kind of see behavior of other men, but men are the best to explain to you and to tell you what it is that they want from you as their significant other.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we'll come to your other comment, Jurgen. But this is a big one, ladies. And I've seen people, ask, should a man have any say so about what you do with your hair? I'm not going to argue you down. You can do what you want to with your hair. But for me, that's such a small thing. If your man likes it, why not just give him that gift? I'd rather him look at mine than someone else's. So what I've had to do, ladies, when you have a stylist that wants to get creative and do all kind of things, I'm like, hey, my man likes a soft, touchable style. So this is the box we need to stay into. We're not shellacking anything down. We're not changing any colors. We're not doing anything. You're going to have to say that. That's what I would say. Now, Jurgen had something else on here about, let me see, I think I pinned it in here. Don't let other women explain to you what men want. I think this is a big one. So if I were being vetted by a man and he asked me about my friends, who I was listening to, who I follow for like relationship advice or whatever, I would probably say something to the effect of, I know this current dating market, there's a lot of gurus and a lot of women have opinions and a lot of men have opinions. I like to consider the source before I take advice from anyone. So, ultimately, if I want the attention of a man, I need to listen to what he wants over a woman who's not the man that I want to be with. The exception could be if she's in a relationship that I admire and I could learn from her experience if she's significantly older than me. But my friends are just that. They're girlfriends. We go out and we do girl stuff together. But as far as taking relationship advice, they're all trying to get married like me. So I would take what you say over what a girlfriend would say. What about you, Lucy?
Yeah, I think that they have to consider the source. Is the life that that woman is leading the life that you think you could have at that age of if you were 57 years old, would you like to have my 57-year-old life or a 57-year-old that's doing TikToks and talking about, the world is coming to an end and they don't have a significant other and they hate the world because they can get, a partner. So again, consider the source. And if you want to get straight to the point, counsel or suggestions, go to your dad, your brother, your cousin, that male figure that would give you the the man's perspective on those issues.
Yeah, I think it's really important. So you all can continue to pepper us with your questions. Tonight is for the men. If you're in the market dating for marriage or long term, we are two older women who believe in teaching the young. So what are some of the questions that you would ask women, that you have asked women? Maybe they fumbled the bag. So we can demonstrate to the ladies watching either live or on the replay what is important and the types of questions that men may ask. And I love what you said, Lucy, about listening to older men. It breaks my heart. I mean, so many people now come from broken homes. It's foreign to them to hear what a man's opinion would be. And I don't know, the house that I grew up with, my dad's word was the final word. So ladies, if you don't have that, I would absolutely advise you to seek that out. Find a father figure, uncle, older brother, and especially pay very close attention to the type of men that you want and the way that they move. And I would say, start to observe and befriend them just so you could understand what their life is like. I see sometimes talking to women that they have their roaring 20s or hot girl summers or whatever, and they have spent so much time with the type of men that are not marriage material. By the time they say, okay, I'm ready, and they want to interact with a man who's marriage material, some of y'all in the chat have told me their communication skills are off. They can't answer simple questions. They just think they're supposed to show up and look cute. And ladies, that is not enough, not when a man is vetting you seriously. All right, let's see. Any other questions from the men, or would you add anything, Lucy?
No, and I was thinking about that, on the Wives Club, that comment that you made about, when you're, at least for me, if I was dating someone that I did not think was the proper gentleman that I thought was going to be, there's that repulsion that you feel that you're like, nope, I'm done. I don't want to go, not even on a second date, because that is something that is not, that I know that I had a feeling he was playing me, or he was saying things that made me think that he was not serious about. It was only that dinner date, and that was it. Because again, as a woman, you start hearing the things that they say, whether a man is serious about what they want on a, of a future significant other or not. So your your body, I think, is able to tell you initially whether that man is worth your time or not. And when you know that it's not, you just have to let it go. There's no sense of, trying it out for the, maybe on the second date, maybe the first date, not necessarily, maybe you found something weird, try the second date, but by the third date, if you know that that is not going anywhere, there's no reasons to stay for 3, 4, 5 months, 5 years, 10 years without any kind of commitment. Your body knows when that man is going to want additional commitment with you or not.
I absolutely love that. I see a question or a comment from someone new here, AMLG. I'm going to get to you in just a moment. But I love what you said, Lucy, about your body knows. Ladies, I know we live in this modern world. We all love this modern technology, but we are still humans. We are male, we are female, and our mating choices and the way we are naturally attracted to a man who has a commanding presence. These are not accidents. You all will hear me say it until I can't say it anymore. We are not the same. We are not equal. We are equally valued, but we're very different. The same way a man is naturally drawn to a woman who, is attractive to him, but also is useful to him. He sees that as something that's going to help him accomplish his goals. Likewise, we are not built for the long haul the way that men are. So we are going to naturally want someone who can do that heavy lifting. So to Lucy's point, you can deny it if you want to, but what I see time and time again is you'll get to your 30s and your 40s, you're okay, help me now. How do I make up for lost time? And the answer is you really can't. AMLG says, tip for women, don't belittle your man's harmless hobbies like gaming, etc. It's their way to handle stress and decompress. This is a big one. This was a big one in relationships, ladies. So thank you for that. So, oh my goodness. I don't know if men would necessarily bring this up. Maybe, and I don't know. I'm dating a man. He said something like, you know what? I've got a boys' trip twice a year. We like to go fishing. I'm making it up. And, or I ride bikes, whatever it is, do you have an issue with that? Or, what do you think about that? Because honestly, it doesn't matter if I have an issue or not. It's really straightforward to me, for me, any relationship has roles. So I would want to be clear on the role that you're going to play in the relationship and the role that I'm going to play. coming from a traditional point of view, I see myself as a support system. And as long as you're doing what you said you're going to do, providing for the family, being my covering and my protection, I'll send you off with my blessing. Like, I want you in the best possible shape. And especially, you've been doing this since before I came along. Who am I to say, don't go out, with the guys? So I have no problem with that. What would you say, Lucy?
I agree. It's something that, if the conversation it comes up that his hobbies are, gaming or fixing cars, in the garage. I mean, that is something that as a woman, to me, oh my goodness, he's a man's man. He likes to fix things. And that is something that as a modern woman, you should celebrate that he's able to spend his time at home doing his thing. I would prefer to have my husband spending time gaming, fixing things at my house than going out to find ways to do because he doesn't want to be at home. You want to keep your husband so happy that he's not going to want to go anywhere. And why not allow him to do the video game, to have his my husband, he's in his studio doing his own little thing. Of course, he's working right now, but I love it that he loves to be home, that I know that if he worked outside, that at 5 o'clock he would be home because he feels so happy to be at home, sweet home. And we have to allow them to spend their time doing their own thing. There's no reason to belittle what they do to decompress. It makes no sense to me. It's never made sense to me. And it shouldn't make sense to any woman trying to belittle a man because they want to decompress the way they want to do so.
So many good points there. I see a couple more questions we're going to get to, but ladies, the teachable moment on this one, do not nag your man. Because, like Lucy said, our job is to create that warm, welcoming space. There's nothing like a man who cannot wait to see you again. But to Lucy's point, if you are difficult, they're just going to naturally avoid you. And then you'll be asking those questions, when am I going to see you? All of that. Men, and I believe I've said this before, men recharge differently. And so if he's in the area, like my ex-husband was like a grease monkey. He used to work on, car parts and stuff. Bring him a lemonade. Just check, hey, dinner's going to be ready in 30 minutes. Just be grateful. Or, my man now likes to garden or whatever. Just, see what you can do, but just let them be. The, the assumption is that you have a man who has this as a hobby. He is already doing what he needs to do. He doesn't need you to be on his back about anything. Let the man be a man. That's what, listen to the older women, ladies. I'm 48, Lucy's 57. Just listen. The International Quiet Storm says, a question I ask is, if I asked you to show me all your social media right now, would you do it? If not, why? Here you go. It's unlocked. I do not put anything on the internet that I wouldn't want my mom, your mom, our pastor, you, your boss. Absolutely not. I believe that the internet lasts forever. And so I'm very intentional about what I share. And not everything is for public consumption. So go ahead, check all of my socials. What would you say, Lucy?
I agree. I mean, I mean, there's no reason for someone not to be transparent that way. Um, Again, because of social media, that is such an interesting thing to ask, but why would you not give the phone to the person that wants to know? Again, I think I we talked about it the last time about I would like to know what kind of music you play, what kind of, just to see your personality because that's how you see what kind of personality that person has. If that person is not willing to show you what's in social media, that is a huge red flag because what are you showing on social media that you cannot show the person that's vetting you? That's really strange, and that's a great question to ask.
I love that one. And again, ladies, we're talking about dating with the intention for marriage or long term. If you're just out here having fun, there are channels that will tell you how to do that. The condemned man coming through again with the $50. I've updated you. Thank you for being the stream sponsor, the $100. We appreciate you. We're getting ready for our graduation, and we appreciate that so much. So the questions are coming in. So let's see if we can move through these. He says, I was talking to a woman and I started the "Are you dating other men?" discussion. And she said, yes. I said, that ain't gonna work for me. She said, why? I responded, if you're gonna be my wife, you need to get used to not entertaining other men. Wait. I absolutely love this. And just like Lucy said, it's sad to me that it has to be said now, but it has to be said now. And I understand that. Again, those of us that dated years and decades ago, you dated one person at a time, but because of this internet and all this attention, people feel like they can spin plates. But absolutely, I think it's an absolute honor if a man asks you to be exclusive. That means he's seriously considering taking the relationship to the next step. So, ladies, if you're not willing or able to date the man who's vetting you exclusively, then you need to cut ties with him and let him go find that woman who will. So for me, absolutely no problem. What other men? I don't see any other men. How would you answer, Lucy?
Again, that's a modern day thing. I don't it's pretty challenging to relate to that because as an elegant woman, you want to spend your time with a man of substance. How are you going to find out if a man of substance is it when you're dealing with several men in, the background? You either choose the one and see date one, date two, date three, date four, and see if that is a good um, possible future relationship. If it doesn't work, you end it and then you move on to a next possible one. I don't understand how women, ladies, can have other interested parties all at once. It's very hard for me to understand.
Absolutely. And ladies, you can do what you want to and think what you want to, but I know our mindset is already kind of chaotic. And this is the reason why I would say we don't need a lot of experiences because you will just start to compare. And if you look for trouble, you're going to find it. Everybody has flaws. Nobody is perfect. Another reason why you don't want to delay getting serious if you want marriage and long term. If you are a boss babe, run with it until 65. Some of us want relationship. All right, we have Jeff Mays in the house. He says, hi, Maggie and Luke Hazley. I'm 59. She's 55. I have been in the friend zone since the C-19 pandemic. We hung in there, but now in 2024, still in the friend zone. Should I move on? Absolutely. I mean, the fa- I hate that you have to ask, but I think, especially for those of us of a particular age, like we're looking at the second half of life. It just is what it is. And if you're with a woman that you would be willing to be in a real relationship with and she's not taking it seriously, just like our last question, if she's entertaining other men, I mean, she absolutely has the right to do that. But I think men would do, with respect, I think men would do better to present, this is what I have to offer. Do you accept or not? And if it's a not, find someone who will cherish what you have to offer. That's what I would say, Lucy. What would you say?
I agree. And unfortunately, I don't feel that um, I have the capacity to answer and see it as a man, but as a woman, if I were your sister or if I were somebody, your auntie, I would say it's time to move on because again, you're the one presenting the goods. You're the one saying you're either, want to latch on to my product or not. So again, if she hasn't made it clear that there's an interest for you, there will be another woman that will definitely make it clear soon enough that they want to live the remaining of their lives with you.
Yeah, and I would just say this, I learned this the hard way. Like, a woman has to respect her man. And so if she's not making you a priority, she just doesn't respect you. Now, I am not saying that makes her a bad person, but if you entertain a relationship with a woman who doesn't respect you, I think you are opening yourself up to a lot of bad behavior. So hopefully that helps. And thank you for asking. Accountability says, question, if a man with two kids married a woman with two kids, how should assets be split with the wife and children if the husband earns we got a math problem. If the husband earns 300K a year and the wife earns 30K a year upon the husband passing away and the kids are 16 and 17? Okay. It's the reason. And I know this used to be a hot button topic, and a lot of ladies get upset about this, but prenups should be an expected part of any marriage, especially if there are children. There's just so much with this, but I don't think you leave that decision up to the state to determine your estate. Again, I think as a man, with respect, I would say you need to decide, separate from her, what you're willing to do. So you present, I'm willing to take care of you and provide a home and take care of the family, but my estate goes to my children. And that just has to be, if that's what the man would want. And, so if someone brought that up to me, I would just say, I understand and I respect that. I mean, to me, it's not even a conversation. You can ask, but if a man has built himself, he wants that to go to his legacy, unless he wants to, I don't know how long they've been together, but let's say he raised the other kids and he wants to do something. But, I think women who expect not only themselves, but their children from another man to be provided for, that's a stretch. So, and that one, hits close to home for me. So I am responsible for the children I had with my ex-husband. And if I'm so fortunate to remarry, then I would be blessed by whatever is provided. But, my children are mine and my ex-husband's responsibility. What would you say, Lucy?
I would say to contact the attorney on that, because that is, it's a legal question. And I think that that is something that when you are first dating, that would be something that should be um, ironed out and clarified. And before you marry, be placed in a prenuptial agreement. Again, you want your children to be um, provided for and protected after the fact, as does she. So it seems like she doesn't have the same earning power as you do. So that's where speaking to somebody like the lead attorney and working on a prenuptial agreement, just think planning ahead would help. And I think that as um, as a wife, I would love my husband to always have the um, the protection of my children in his mind forever, not somebody else's children. So I don't know. It's one of those tough ones. That is a conversation that should have been had before getting married, because then it becomes an issue.
Yeah, that is so true. They're saying call a lawyer over here on Instagram too. Jurgen says for many women, dating is all about a free dinner. Oh, dear. Um, I have heard of these foodie dates, and I think it's disgusting to use a man for his resources, knowing that you have no intentions for him. Like the old folks used to say, don't accept anything from a man that you are not planning on, doing anything for either. So, men should be selective, women should be selective, but I'll just say this. I believe the purpose of dating is to see if this is a match for marriage or long term. It's not to just try a new restaurant that opened because you want to go. It's not to just take pictures and say, look, I was here, or get fancy, get dressed up. You can do all those things on your own, ladies, but men don't take kindly to that. And I just think it's in poor taste and bad character. What would you say, Lucy?
And again, that for me, that gives you an idea of the kind of um, individual that person is. If you're going to be using the man for just resources, is it only for dinner, or once the relationship builds up, is are you going to be using the man for everything else? So again, that should be a pretty clear red flag when you are dating someone.
Oh, we got some people in the chat. I saw Auntie Jenny here shouting you out. I saw Kaylee in here shouting you out. So again, we're doing this little something for the first time. Maybe we'll do it again, letting the men vet. So the men are bringing up their dating and vetting questions, and Lucy and I are attempting to answer them as an example for the ladies who are interested in marriage and long term. So the condemned says, I ask women how she responds to constructive criticism. Then I put her response to the test. This is a good one. So ladies, don't say, I take feedback really well. And then he says, I don't like when you do that and you have a tantrum. So if a man asked me, how do you take constructive criticism? I would answer honestly and say, I understand that sometimes the truth hurts, but it's necessary to grow. I may go a little bit quiet, but I know to control my emotions and not act out. I also know, because I had a father, and I know the way that men give feedback, it's very direct. And so I've learned that they only do that because that's how they love and that's how they protect. So even if I need to go in the corner and cry a little bit, I will take the feedback. And more importantly, I will listen to what you say, and I will correct or make the change. All right, Lucy, what would you say?
That's a good one. I would say, yeah, the truth hurts sometimes. And the way I process constructive criticism is that I need time to process the information, and then I will get back to the discussion. There's not going to be anything, not throwing a tantrum. Um, I would say, I would ask what the problem is and what would be his solution to it. Go back, process, and then come back with, yeah, you're right. I did not behave, my best, on this situation that you're bringing back up. I will not do it again. And again, the best apology for bad behavior is not doing the behavior. Saying that you're not going to do it again, but doing it again is not an apology. It's saying it and not doing the behavior again and showing it with actions.
Absolutely, because you saw he's going to put you to the test. And that's very important, ladies, when dealing with men, especially masculine men. They are men of few words. Like I have learned, I have touched the stove, and my man said, I'm going to tell you one time in a row. So you need to listen. All right. Y'all don't want the smoke. All right. So just another Mark says when he's vetting, he asks her what she thinks of Kevin Samuels. Well, if y'all are watching this content, Lucy and I both have a very strong connection to the late, great Kevin Samuels. And I would probably say if a man were vetting me and asked, what do you think about Kevin Samuels? I'd be honest and say, the first time I heard him, I was shocked and appalled, horrified. He was talking to somebody else, but it hurt my feelings. But just like the question about constructive criticism, after I got over the emotional response, I really started to listen to what he was saying and why he was saying it. And there was truth behind that. So much truth that I actually booked a session with him because I wanted to help in any way that I could. And he changed my life. So I'm a forever fan of The Godfather. Lucy, how would you answer?
I love Kevin Samuels. In fact, I'm a moderator for him. I love what he has to say. I think that sometimes, some people take it as really negatively, but what he wants from us in the modern world is to succeed as women in the modern world, as in a relationship, as a nuclear family. So the international guys term since he says, Lucy's like, are you kidding me? I had Kevin Samuels on speed dial.
Oh my goodness, I love it. Okay, we've got about 10 minutes left. You guys are coming in hot. So let me see. Let me try and get all of the men's questions that we can answer for you all. AMLG says, important tip, ladies, create a safe space for a man to put his shield or cape down. If you can't handle him when he is vulnerable with his emotions, then sooner or later he will find someone else. This is such a good point, ladies. You have to realize that a man's life, and I am not a man, but a man's life is hard. The world is not kind to them. They learn lessons the hard way, and it takes them time. So when a man has made himself, it has cost him a lot. And I think if you start with a baseline of respect, that goes a long way. And it's going to take a lot for a man to really bare his soul. So if and when he does, treat that with the softest gloves that you can. Y'all are so funny. Well, yeah, we've got the single mother thing. I mean, that's, either a man is going to date single mothers or he's not, and it's absolutely his perspective. I mean, y'all know I'm a divorced mom of two, and I've shared with you, my man says that, he doesn't believe in blending the family, so we got to finish what we started. And there is no response to that, but I understand. Ladies, we either accept with grace or we exit with grace. But you will not nag him. You will not change his mind. You will not wrestle him to the ground. You will not debate him. A man wants what he wants. And either you agree to that or find another man. It's really that simple. What would you say, Lucy?
Yes, there are some men that will date single mothers, but they will I think that as single mothers, you're going to have to be able to offer them more than what a uh, non mother, I'm not a person that doesn't have any children would. So again, yes, but it all depends. It seems to me that the modern single woman has taken the men that are willing to take on their children for granted, and men have said, no, no mas, not anymore. It's not worth it. Because again, they're thinking about, they're having to um, feed and produce and protect children that are not theirs, and then there's no gratefulness from the kid or the moms on uh, taking care of a man um, being the man of the house with children that are not theirs.
Absolutely. Again, it's primal, ladies. It's the way that we are. I mean, the children that you have remind the man that there was another man before him. Logically, they probably know that, but they don't want to be reminded of it every day. They just don't. So, like Lucy said, and Kevin Samuels even said this too, those of us that are mothers have to overperform. So, any entitlement, any ingratitude, anything that's kind of like, I'm just like everybody else. No, you're not. We already did the scorecard. Kaylee, I saw your question. We'll get to yours last. We're going to prioritize the men tonight. I don't know if you heard that, but I've got one more from the Condemned. He says, lately with these new numbers coming out, I've asked women what they think of paternity tests at birth. Some of their faces were interesting, but then the shaming language came quickly after. Swab everybody. Look, let me tell y'all something. So if I were being vetted and someone asked, how do you feel about paternity tests at birth? Absolutely, no problem. Go ahead and do it in the hospital, because every time that little joker acts up, I want to say, come get your son. But, funnily enough, I'm almost embarrassed to say, when I started listening to this men-centric context, again, because I never had the thought that you would be entertaining multiple men at the same time, like that. I called my ex-husband and I was like, have you heard about this paternity test thing? Should we all go get tested? The boys are 15 and 16 now. He was like, really, Margaret? I was like, look, I don't want you to have any doubts or any questions. He was like, and my children are biracial, so it's kind of obvious, but I'm like, look, whatever I need you to have peace of mind that this is your your legacy, let's do it. What would you say, Lucy?
I just saw one TikTok of a judge that had been married for 51 years. And for whatever reason, they needed to find out there was like a kidney transplant or something. And they needed to find out from the kids whether they were a match. And he found out that the kids weren't theirs at his old age of, he's like 70 now, of married 51 years with kids that are 44, I think 42 and 44. They're not even his. So that is such a scary thing, how we, some women, we can be so deceiving and deceitful and not be transparent. So that's a great question about the paternity test. It's I would love to be a man asking that question to see the faces and the
And the
responses
response.
as well.
Absolutely. And as a boy mom, like I said, I'm swabbing everybody. So you open your mouth. I'm swabbing everybody. All right. So we're going to come to our last question. I'm going to give this to Kaylee. She is one of our students. But let us know as we're wrapping this up what you all think about this Let the Men Vet. We try to come up with different ways to engage with you all and hopefully be the older women that teach the younger women in a way that's helpful. Kaylee says, do you think people without children that are under 40 should be dating people without children as well? Same question for never married. Are they the best to date each other, or is it case by case? I would say it's case by case. I think people have preferences. I have heard and I have seen, I know men, clearly the men will say, I don't have children. I don't want to, or even if they do, I don't want to date a woman with children. It's their prerogative, because like my man told me, y'all act like y'all giving out these rings. Okay, so let's remember that, ladies. So I think it's personal preference. Like Lucy said, there are some men that will be a stepdad. There are some men that are like, absolutely not. Likewise, I've heard it from women. I've heard women say, you know what, I don't have any children and I don't want to deal with, baby mama drama or whatever. I think that's personal preference. Likewise, if someone is married, maybe they got married young, never had kids, and they're divorced. I haven't heard that one as much. Like, I've never been married, so I want to date someone who's never been married. I think it's about if we're compatible and we're agreeable. And as women, if we know what he's looking for in a wife and we're willing to step up to that, I would say it could work out. What would you say, Lucy?
I agree. It has to do with whatever the man wants. Again, the man is the one that ultimately makes a decision. So if the man doesn't want to, wants to date someone that doesn't have any children, whether they're older, they're younger, it's up to them. It's not up to us to make that decision, because ultimately they are the ones that are going to get on their knees and ask us whether we want to marry them or not. No matter how much you nag them, no matter how much you give them ultimatums, you are not the one that makes that decision. It's up to the man to choose you.
And on that note, we're going to wrap up. So, thank you all. This was fun. I enjoyed it. If you all like these type of things, we've done the game night before. We did Let the Men Vet. You know, I try to come up with ways that are helpful. So if you all have any other ideas or things you'd like for us to cover, let us know. Usually once a week on Wednesdays, Lucy and I do an Ask Us Anything, which is open to everyone as a way of giving back, but then also showing what it's like to work with us offline. So yes, you all enjoyed this stream. Thank you so much. We're going to go ahead and let you have your evening. Lucy has a flight to catch. So no Wives Club on Friday. I've got a lot of collabs coming up this weekend, so you all can stay tuned on my channel. And then we'll see you all next Wednesday for the next Ask Us Anything. So until then, everybody, adios.
Adios.